What up, movie lovers? Welcome back to the Apocaflix Movie News Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Bartley, and I'm back again with Gio Ramos and Jake Berlin. What's up, Gio? How are you doing, man?
R-rated comic book movies, that's the thing now.
I guess so. You
Yeah.
know, Deadpool has changed the whole entire game. No, I'm just kidding. We're also here with Jake Berlin. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. R-rated comic movies, why that could be the death of the genre.
I agree.
We're gonna sort of talk about that soon.
Well, I have my own opinions, but anyways, for those of you who don't know how this works, Gio Ramos gathers the movie news topics throughout the week, and we, have to pick and choose between the ones we want to talk about and some of the biggest movie news stories, and we talk about them. So we go through our main subjects and then the rapid fire segment at the end. So without further ado, Gio, what do we got first?
All right, first one is a pretty big one. Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers came out and announced the start date for the production of their upcoming Justice League movie. So the start date will be April 11th, 2016, and Zack Snyder himself tweeted out a photo, sort of like a teaser photo of him and Jason Momoa, who's playing Aquaman. And in the back, you can sort of see all sorts of different costumes, including Aquaman and the Flash, and what looks like a Batman suit. Not right there in the middle, Jake, but off to the right side. You can see his cowl. But so we've been hearing rumors over the past couple weeks about Batman v Superman, all these troubling rumors. The test screenings haven't been going too well. Rumors about the budget inflation. So how does this change your guys' view on Batman v Superman? The fact that Warner Bros. Is coming out and saying, whoa, look, we have a start date. It's this date. Zack Snyder's still very much attached. We're good to go. So let's start with you, Jacob.
For me, I liked the picture. It's cool. It doesn't really give us too much other than, speculating on what the costumes are, but it's just good to know that they're actually filming, because we heard those reports a couple weeks ago about if Batman v Superman doesn't live up to expectations, they might postpone Justice League. I never believed that to begin with. I think they're going to fall through with this at least through Justice League Part 2. If it doesn't work by the time we hit Justice League Part 2, then I could see them just imploding their whole plan. But for now, I never believed that. But it's pretty cool. I tried zooming in on the picture. It's really hard to tell, but I think Jake has some speculations on who one of the suits might be, so I'll let him talk about that. But for me, it's just cool to see that. I think this is a proclamation of them, having confidence in their universe and going forward with it, and in Zack Snyder. So overall, I like that they put this picture out, because it does instill some confidence in them. So
Yeah, what about you, Jake?
Yeah, it's a cool picture, and the release date, cool, they announced the release date, but it doesn't really matter. Because we've seen movies in the past.
Well, they announced their shooting date.
Well, okay, they've announced a shooting date, and movies haven't gone into
definitely,
production.
Yeah.
So the most recent one is obviously Fantastic Four, which totally crapped itself. I don't see Batman v Superman doing that, but you just never know. It's also kind of like we're gonna put water on this fire because of all this stuff that's been going around with Batman v Superman, all that kind of stuff, all the word. But as for the picture, you get to see a Flash costume. You see it's a red suit. You don't get to see too many details. You see a little bit of Aquaman. You see a picture of Mira in the background. And you also see what looks like a Batman costume, but I'll put money on it that it's a Nightwing costume.
I think so too.
Yeah, and we've heard Nightwing he's been thrown in there for a long, long time. He was rumored for Batman v Superman at one point. He's a character that's been wanting to put on the screen for a very, very long time. If he does show up in Justice League Part 1, I think it's almost a guaranteed hit that the Batman solo movie will be Batman Under the Red Hood, because Nightwing does play a big part in that. He's actually one of my favorite DC characters. Other than Batman, he's my favorite Bat Family character. Dick Grayson, he's a total badass.
If they're ever going to bring in Robin, quote unquote, or a sidekick to Batman, the smart way to go within this universe is Nightwing.
Well, yeah,
not Boy Wonder Robin.
Yeah, it would be Dick Grayson, the first Robin, who grew up and became his own version of Batman, basically. Just a little bit different techniques, and it's cool. It's very cool.
I would love to see him there.
Yeah, because we've never seen a Batman sidekick / Bat family on the big screen. I mean, you can kind of count Catwoman, but Catwoman, she's not really part of the Bat family like these other characters are.
Well, I mean, we in the original Batman, or not in the original Batman, but in the George Clooney one, we had.
Well, okay,
and
you
Val
did it.
Kilmer one, we had.
Whoa, let's get those out.
Sort
of
of,
the way.
I know
Let's
those
get
were
those out of the way.
bad, but we had Dick Grayson and Batgirl
That's true.
in there.
That's true.
We did, but so we've seen it before, but done horribly. We've never seen it done well.
Yeah, so I mean,
in live action,
it's cool, but at the same time, it's nothing you should jumping out of your chair over just because they announced a shooting date. Cool, but it's still 2 months away, or a month and a half away, or whatever. So anything can happen in that month and a half. Who knows? Batman and Superman could totally bomb, and they're like, wait a second. But I don't ever see that happening. So
yeah, Jake just hates the DC universe.
that is
so,
not.
No.
Gio, what do you think about
it? Okay, so I look at this as a bit of damage control on Warner Brothers' part, because if you guys have been like browsing the internet about this kind of stuff, people are freaking out, and I think for no apparent reason, because everything that's been said negative about the film has just been rumors, and everything that's official, like trailers, photos,
for the most part, has been
positive. Yeah. And so the way I see it, look, Zack Snyder, he's never had a film that's been like a for sure like hit. Like there's always like it's always been like a story issue, something like that. Yeah, Man of Steel.
Well, Watchmen.
All 300.
Everyone's
300. Well, 300.
I would
was
say
loved.
300 was
300 was loved by audiences, but it was an okay to good receive. I think it's like the 70% range.
Yeah,
on Rotten
but I mean,
Tomatoes.
I remember 300 was like a phenomenon, dude.
Yeah,
like, people,
but that was with a lot of fans.
Yeah,
a lot of fans loved it.
But I feel like this one is different, and it's because, Warner Bros. Brings in Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck, brings in his writer Chris Terrio. So there's been a lot of rumors, same kind of rumors about the, all this stuff that we're hearing that, they came in and did a brush over of the script, dialogue, character, and we know how good Ben Affleck is with the character development. So I think this one could be a little bit of a different, and Warner Bros. Is saying, look, give this one a chance. If Zack Snyder doesn't hit this one out of the park, then, maybe we'll reevaluate our,
yeah, I could see them putting someone else on Justice League. I actually would prefer that. Even if Batman v Superman is a masterpiece, I would still prefer if someone else directed to Justice League Part 1 and 2.
Well, the thing about Zack Snyder is that he's a very visionary director. He has his own style.
Yeah.
His own visuals. That's one thing you can't take away from the man is each one of his films look gorgeous. They're beautifully shot films.
Do we want that with Justice League, though? And then would that mean Justice League 3 has to keep that same style and tone, which I guarantee he probably won't direct? So.
Well, I mean, it's all about DC keeping the tone that they've found. They've found their identity through Christopher Nolan, through the darker universe. You guys kind of agree with that?
I mean, they found their tone in Nolan, yes, but Snyder is so different from Nolan.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, kind of going off your conversation of Zack Snyder, it's like DC may have found what they're looking for in this DC universe and whatnot with Zack Snyder, but at the same time, Man of Steel was received decent by critics. If Batman vs Superman is received decent by critics as well, people are going to be like, well, we want to see something else from someone else.
Yeah.
Problem is with Zack Snyder, it's his way or the highway. That's kind of how he operates. He doesn't care what other people think. He's going to make a movie how he wants to make it.
Well,
and maybe that's not what we want for a Justice League movie.
Yeah, I think it's ultimately going to come down to fan reaction and box office.
Yeah.
Warner Bros. is not going to care if Batman v Superman has a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it makes $1.5 billion and the fans love it. Warner Bros. Is not going to care. They're going to let Zack Snyder direct Justice League. Look at the Transformers movies.
Well, that's
Universal. Or is it Universal or Paramount?
Paramount.
They don't care that
that's true.
It gets horrible critical reactions. They care about the money and the fan reactions. So I think it's going to be a similar situation.
I hope Warner Bros. Is not that way.
Well, I hope that they're not hoping that this movie, like, I have a feeling that their expectations for this movie is like Dark Knight style.
And it shouldn't be that high.
Yeah, that's too much.
Well, going off of that, let's go into the next topic. It seems like Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice had an R-rated cut version already made prior to the success of Deadpool, and now it's being released by FilmRatings.com, who typically, they have their credentials and whatnot. They're saying that an R-rated version of Batman v Superman will release with the Blu-ray edition. It's being called the Ultimate Edition, and according to the MPAA, Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman R cut was given that rating for sequences of violence. So, does this relate to the hype of Deadpool? Is Warner Bros. Doing this because of Deadpool? How do you guys react to this?
I don't think it's because of Deadpool. I think it's kind of what Zack Snyder had always envisioned for it. I don't think they ever shot the movie intending to get an R rating, but I think they shot certain scenes that they knew were going to get cut because of the brutality and violence of them. And I think that scene goes directly towards the killing of Robin. Mm-hmm. I think it screams Joker versus Robin with a crowbar destroying, the Boy Wonder. So, we don't know. How violent can it really be? I think it's the only scene that's going to be that violent. But at the same time, I don't see them rating Batman v Superman R because of that one scene. That's kind of hard to see. But as for an R-rated Batman v Superman, this kind of scares me a little bit, personally. Yeah. It's something I don't want to see it. I don't think it should be rated R. Because, Batman and Superman, they're two characters who normally don't kill. So to see them in an R-rated film is kind of strange, weird, a little scary. But as for the R rating, I think it's just because of that one scene, the Joker versus Robin scene.
Does it add more to the Blu-ray? Like, does it make you more interested in buying the Blu-ray?
No, because I'm probably gonna buy the Blu-ray anyway. But yeah, I would love to see that scene in live action. Yeah, because I've seen it in animated versions. I've seen it in the graphic novel. I've seen it in different iterations before.
We don't even know if that scene's gonna be in the movie.
That's true.
You're just saying if it is.
If it is, yeah. That's definitely something I do want to see in live action. But it's not gonna make me go out and be like, oh, I have to get this Blu-ray because. I think I was going to go buy the Blu-ray anyway, but it's kind of like that whole road cut with X-Men Days of Future Past. It's a different version of the film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it probably wouldn't be canon per se.
No, yeah, exactly.
So will make a difference. For me, well, if you remember, the original cut of Avengers was actually rated R. When they submitted it to the MPAA, yeah, it was rated R for one scene when Loki kills Coulson.
Oh,
and
that's
it was
right.
too graphic. And all they had to do was change that scene, PG-13. So I think one scene can influence the rating. But for me, I don't really like this at all because, sure, even after Batman v Superman comes out, after it's had its 3 months in theaters, then announce we're coming out with an R-rated Blu-ray edition, then I would probably be like, oh, that's cool, I want to see that. But I don't like the fact that this is announced before the movie comes out. I think it ruins... It's pointless, in my opinion.
Well, Warner Bros. Didn't announce this. This was
all right. You're right. You're right. So yes, Warner Bros. Did not announce this. FilmRatings.com, and then that actually upsets me even more because now, people are hearing this, and general movie fans will see this as a headline on a movie news site or something, and they're gonna assume that it comes from Warner Bros. They don't know that to check their sources and their sites and everything. So. From general fan perspective, it's like, I had a friend from work, for example, the other day. I was just walking by, and he was like, hey, did you hear they're coming out with a rated R Batman v Superman? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, don't get too excited like that. It's not going to be official. It's kind of like just a special edition Blu-ray release, And I feel like it's messing with fans' heads. And this guy that from work is just a general movie fan, and he was like, oh, yeah, rated R Batman. And I think general movie fans need to calm down and just realize that this is just for the Blu-ray. It's going to have nothing to do with the official movie release. So I just don't like the idea of this whole thing in general.
I feel a little bit differently. I think that based off the director, Snyder, the source material, Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, I was kind of expecting there to be like an R-rated cut. Not like in the sense where there's a lot of cursing and nudity and all that kind of stuff, but just like it says in here, sequences of violence. And you both have seen The Dark Knight Returns. Jacob, yeah.
Yes.
So you guys know how violent and adult that material stuff is, and the fact that they're adapting it in here, paired with Zack Snyder, and we know how he is as a director. He likes that violence and graphic kind of stuff. We've all seen Watchmen. You guys kind of seen how that is. Not saying the DC universe has to be R-rated, but for this film in particular, I'm not surprised that there's an R-rated cut.
I just can't imagine any fight scenes between Batman and Superman having to be so violent that they're rated R.
Well, you punch Superman and you show him spitting out blood. Like, think about a Daredevil sequence in Netflix and how he's spitting out blood.
I don't think the movie needs that to do what it's trying to do.
That's why it's getting a PG-13 theatrical release.
Yeah.
How would you guys feel about an R-rated Batman movie?
No.
Mm.
I wouldn't want it, but I wouldn't totally dismiss the idea. It's interesting because then you can do that Robin scene like you were talking about and give it justice and have it really be really violent. But then you would just be making the movie rated R for that one scene. I don't think you need it, but it's not I would be interested.
I don't think any superhero or comic movie should be rated R other than Deadpool, or I would even want Suicide Squad to be rated R, but I love the PG-13 rating for that. Yeah. I think Deadpool is the only thing that should be rated R, and maybe an old man Logan.
Or like an X-Force. But that has Deadpool in it. So,
yes, that's true.
So that would just.
But they can't get away with the PG-13 for that.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
All right, well, let's move from one cinematic universe to the other cinematic universe. So, Captain America: Civil War. There was some photos and interviews released on what?
Empire magazine.
Empire magazine, and one of the pieces talked about the character for Martin Freeman. Martin Freeman is best known for the Hobbit movies, right? And Sherlock.
Yeah, next to Benedict Cumberbatch.
Who's also in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, Jake, since you wrote this up, kind of give a little bit of backstory and exactly what's going on with Martin Freeman's character, and just go ahead and take it.
Well, last year when they announced the Captain America Civil War cast, we were kind of all expecting to see this Avengers-style cast with Paul Rudd, Anthony Mackie, all these big characters, big names in there. But the one that stood out the most because it was a shocker and something that we'd never heard before was Martin Freeman. He popped up at the very end. He was announced. That was the first time we ever heard his name announced with the movie. But his character wasn't revealed. It was always expected that he would be playing some kind of government official, maybe alongside Captain America. But last week or early this week, Empire, as they usually do, they do a great write-up of all these big movies, and their latest issues featured all Civil War, and they revealed who Martin Freeman is playing along with a photo. And in the photo, he's standing alongside Emily Van Camp's Agent 13, and Empire wrote up that he is playing a Black Panther character named Everett Ross, and he's in the comics. Ross is a U.S. government official traditionally involved in the world of Black Panther and his home in Wakanda. But in Civil War, he is part of the Joint Counter-Terrorist Center, and he'll be trying to keep a tight rein on the like of Cap and Bucky, which kind of makes sense because with the fact that S.H.I.E.L.D. is no longer around or in the shadows for now, there needs to be some kind of government official kind of tracking everything and making sure everything's up tight and everything. I like it. I think it's a great fit for him. The dude's awesome. The big reveal obviously is that it's kind of a setup for a Black Panther standalone, just like they're doing did in Age of Ultron with Andy Serkis. Yeah. They're kind of building his supporting cast.
Well, yeah, they're like planting the seeds.
Yeah, so
get you familiar with these characters.
It's pretty cool, and it's gonna be interesting to see what side he's on to start at. But I have a feeling it may switch near the end, kind of maybe becoming a friend, an ally towards Captain America, because Black Panther and Cap traditionally are very close together. But I mean, yeah, he's playing a character named Everett Ross, Black Panther world, government official. And it's kind of what we expected.
When it comes to Black Panther, is he an adversary of Black Panther? Yeah. He is?
Yes.
Okay, so you never know. He might be one of those villains who, he's considered an antagonist, but he thinks he's doing the right thing. Yeah. So, he's not really bad. He's just on the wrong side, you know. But for me, I don't know much about the character. You know, just what you explained is my extent of knowledge on this character. But I never expected Martin Freeman to be playing a comic book superhero or super villain. I expected it to be a government official type character. So I really like him as an actor. I've only known him from the Hobbit movies, but I think he did a very good job in those.
So good in Sherlock.
A lot of people have been
So
telling me to
good.
watch Sherlock, so I think I'm going to watch it. And I love Benedict Cumberbatch, so that's not a problem. But overall, I'm really excited to hear this because, you know, I think fans, they hear, oh, this person's cast in this superhero movie. What superhero is he playing? What supervillain is he playing? There's other characters besides superpowered beings in these comic book movies, so I really like this news.
Yeah, I really have nothing more to add. Martin Freeman, he's excellent. Again, with you, Jacob, I wasn't expecting him to play a superhero or anything like that. So it's good to kind of see him play a character who's gonna have a bigger role as the movies go forward. But for now, it's exciting. So let's move on. Pacific Rim 2, we finally have an update, and it appears that Daredevil showrunner and Spartacus creator Stephen S. DeKnight is directing Pacific Rim 2. So what happened to Guillermo del Toro, guys? Why did he get the boot? Let's speculate a little bit and talk about Stephen DeKnight directing Pacific Rim 2.
Well, go ahead.
Well, as for Del Toro, the dude just has so much on his plate. I think the guy's kind of all over the place with TV and movies and producing and directing and everything. Would I have liked to see him come back? Yes, because I absolutely, without a doubt, completely, utterly adore the first movie.
Wow.
Like, I remember walking out of that theater, loving it so much, I went back that night. I saw it the day, and I went back that night.
Wow.
I saw it twice in one day. I loved it. I came out of it so excited. So yes, I would love to see Del Toro back, but because Pacific Rim is kind of his baby, he's been along with it for a long time. He's been pushing for it. He's always been adamant that it's going to happen, a sequel. I just don't see it going along without him having some kind of involvement. As for Stephen S. DeKnight coming in, perfect choice. You guys know that I've been saying he needs to direct a Transformers movie because he's in that writer's room. I watched Spartacus.
This is even better, I think.
Yes, and I watched Spartacus from the very beginning. I love that show. He was the creator. Daredevil, obviously great. He also had involvements in Smallville, Buffy the Vampire, Angel, all kinds of legit projects on TV. And, you know, he's finally getting his first big shot in film. I don't think it comes any better than Pacific Rim. I think he fits this type of movie perfectly. I'm very happy to see a sequel coming. You know, it's very exciting because all the issues they had, it was going to happen, it's not going to happen, it's going to happen, it's not going to happen. The studio dropped it, all that kind of stuff. But it's very cool to see the studio, backing it and going or moving forward with the sequel.
Yeah, I'm curious because the studio must hold the rights to the property now. I mean, they always did, unless, in the contract for the original film, he said, these rights are mine. So I wonder if he's backing DeKnight directing it, like if he's cool with it, or the studio's just like, look, we're not giving you a $250 million budget to do Pacific Rim 2. We apologize, but we're going to go ahead and go this other route, maybe a $100 million budget with Stephen S. DeKnight directing, which I'm very intrigued with. I really love Daredevil. I haven't watched Spartacus. I hear great things, but we've never seen him direct anything. But he's great at storytelling and overseeing all these things. So, show running is more similar to directing a movie than a director for a TV show, because the director for a TV show only directs 1, 2, maybe 3 episodes. The showrunner is overseeing everything, dealing with the writers, the directors, the producers, the actors. So I think showrunning is more like directing. So I think he's well suited to do this. And it's funny because he was working on the Transformers franchise, which is big robots, and now he's working with Pacific Rim 2, which is more adult-themed big robots.
It's Transformers versus Godzilla.
Exactly. It's freaking... I really liked the first movie. I don't know if I love it as much as you do, but I really liked it, and I'm very excited about this. I think he'll do a great job, and I think it'll be the start of a great directing career for him.
Yeah, this news makes me so much more excited for Pacific Rim 2. Spartacus is awesome. So is Daredevil. Like, this guy, I'm glad he's getting a shot directing. You know, I remember looking up his IMDb months back, and I'm like, why hasn't this guy directed anything yet? You know, he has badass tattoos. He does a good job. But with Guillermo, I mean, it could be that he's too busy. Could have been because of Crimson Peak. It could have been
because he's demanding a $300 million budget.
The $300 million budget, and they really want to get Pacific Rim 2 going. In your guys' opinion, how has Guillermo del Toro been as a director with the last couple films that he's done?
Crimson Peak was supposedly a disappointment. I didn't see it.
Hellboy 2.
Well, I know Hellboy 2 is really beloved.
Yeah, it's really beloved. I'm speaking in terms of critic and box office. Like, how do you guys think?
Well, I personally didn't like Crimson Peak, and it was in my top 10 most anticipated films of last year.
Right.
And I came out super disappointed about it. But he's so good at when he does these big, Pacific Rim, Hellboy, like those type of movies. He's really, really good. It's kind of when he steps away from that kind of style of movie that he becomes lackluster a little bit, which is kind of a bummer because he is such a good storyteller. He has a certain kind of vision. It's so different from very many people.
Yeah.
But it's not like Crimson Peak, me being disappointed with it, it's not going to make me like him less. I'm still going to go watch his movies whenever they're out because...
He's still Guillermo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So whatever he does next, I'm looking forward to. I hope he steps back into some giant, ridiculously Pacific Rim / Hellboy-like movie because he's always good at it.
And Blade 2 is awesome.
I did not know he directed Blade 2.
Oh,
That's crazy.
That movie's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's get into a little bit of rapid fire here, guys. Let's speed this up a little bit. I'm going to name off some topics, some small updates to big films, and you guys just give me 2 or 3 sentences, what you think, what's going on, so on and so forth. So it seems like Pepper Potts will be making her return in Captain America Civil War. According to Empire Magazine, Gwyneth Paltrow will return as Pepper Potts and will be featured in a small but key role. Speculations, opinions, reactions, what's up?
I'm glad we're going to see her again. She's been absent since Iron Man 3, but she wouldn't have really fit in Age of Ultron. That's the only other movie Iron Man was in. But, I love her character. I'm glad she's going to be back. Too bad she's going to die in this movie, though.
Jake?
Wow, that's a bold prediction.
Wow. Jake, what do you think?
Cool with the news, sure. Like you said, she's been gone since Iron Man 3. It's going to be cool to see her back. Tony and Pepper have always been the best relationship in the MCU.
Probably in comic book movies.
Well, there's...
I don't know. There's a couple...
Yeah, there's some good ones out there. Mm-hmm. But, it doesn't give me like, oh, I have to go see this movie now. It's cool.
Zombieland 2 is apparently still happening, according to Sony. So, do you guys still want Zombieland 2? They're talking about...
Hell yes.
Is it too late? Like,
no.
It's been like 7 years.
It's never too late. Give me some Tallahassee.
Man, they're making sequels to like Top Gun and movies that like 20 years ago. So nothing is too late in Hollywood anymore. I really love the first one. I don't want to say love. I really like the first one. And I just love Woody Harrelson and Jesse Eisenberg together. I enjoyed, what's the magic movie?
Now You See Me.
Now You See Me.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it because of the cast and their chemistry together. And I love seeing those two work together. So for that reason, I would love to see it.
All right. Well, Mark Strong came out in a recent interview and said that his close friend, Daniel Craig, is pretty much, he thinks, is done playing James Bond. How do you guys feel about this after watching Spectre, especially?
I'm cool with it because you could see it in his eyes and his face that he's tired of playing the character, even on screen in Spectre. So if his heart's not in it, I don't want him to be playing Bond. He's my favorite James Bond. I haven't seen all the James Bond movies, but in my opinion, he's the best James Bond we've ever had, and I love him as James Bond. But if his heart's not in it, then please, move on and cast somebody else.
I'll echo everything you said. Get Idris Elba.
Yes, get Idris Elba. Come on, put him on for like 3 movies.
I would
at
rather
least.
have Chiwetel Ejiofor.
We were talking about that
Honestly.
earlier, yeah.
He's what's his face? in
Mordo?
Doctor Strange.
Mordo.
Yeah, I was about
Has nothing to do with this, though.
I was about to say Boromir. All right, Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One finds its lead actor, Tye Sheridan. He joins Olivia Cook and Ben Mendelsohn. What do you guys think? Is
I've
he
never
gonna fit?
seen him in anything, but
You ever seen Mud?
he's going to be a freaking superstar after X-Men Apocalypse
Oh, yeah.
and this.
Yeah.
He's going to be awesome.
He's the perfect choice. Mud he is so magnificent in it. I just watched him in that crazy zombie movie, Scout Sky and the Zombie Apocalypse. He's actually really fun in it. He kind of takes
I heard it's a different
approach.
role, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect choice. The kid's going to be a superstar. He's going to be around for a very, very long time. And he's probably going to shoot up my favorite actors list after watching Ready Player One.
Yeah, probably.
And
even,
Cyclops.
maybe even after
Yes,
Apocalypse. You never know.
If you have not seen Mud, check it out. It's one of the best movies of 2013.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey. What's the director?
Nicholas.
Jeff Nichols.
What is
Jeff
he
Nichols.
doing next?
Midnight
Oh,
Special.
Midnight Special. Yep. So yeah, go check out Mud. I haven't seen it. I should though.
All right, and lastly, we're going to recap our Showdown Sunday from last week. This one, in my opinion, was one of the harder ones that I chose, and I thought it was one of the better ones I did. So the question I asked was, which superhero movie sequel was the best ever? And I gave you choices like X-Men 2, Batman Returns, Tim Burton, Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi, The Dark Knight, Captain America Winter Soldier, Superman 2. So which sequel did it the best and why? Who wants to start?
The Winter Soldier.
Winter
It's
Soldier?
my all-time favorite superhero movie. It barely edges out Dark Knight for me. It's what that movie did. Following Avengers, following the first Captain America movie. Joe and Anthony Russo stepping on as comedy directors, stepping on this type of movie, making a political thriller inside a comic movie. It's remarkable, but all those sequels are amazing, all of them. So, but Winter Soldier is definitely my choice.
Wow. I actually voted on this, and I voted for none other than The Dark Knight. Come on, man. This is one of the best movies made of all time, in my opinion. Definitely one of the best sequels ever made, not just comic book movies. And what more can I say? Heath Ledger as the Joker, man. It's such a well-directed film. It's so incredible. So yeah, The Dark Knight for sure for me.
Jacob, this might be one of the few times we actually agree. I'm going The Dark Knight as well. It was a phenomenon when it came out in 2008. Christopher Nolan arguably put his all into this film, especially after watching The Dark Knight Rises. Heath Ledger, first time winning the Oscar as a superhero character or villain. Batman, it took him to a very dark place and all that, the conflict. It was all amazing. But honestly, all these films are
Yeah, they're
amazing.
all great. How do you not choose X-Men 2, or how do you not choose The Winter Soldier? I just
Spider-Man 2,
rewatched
yeah.
The Winter Soldier the other night. It's so damn
Yeah,
good.
so-
I every time I watch that movie, I appreciate it more and more and more. It's one of the best Marvel's ever done.
Yeah, guys, check out Showdown Sunday. Place your votes on apocaflixmovies.com. And, yeah.
All right, well, that's going to do it for our show. Thank you all for listening to Apocaflix Movie News. Again, I'm your host, Jacob Bartley. You can find me on Twitter at JacobBartley_, on Instagram at Jacob Brian Bartley, on this YouTube channel, on apocaflixmovies.com, ranking Oscar categories. I want to thank Gio for gathering the movie news for us. Where can they find you online, man?
You guys can find me on Twitter at GioRamos24 and on apocaflixmovies.com every day.
And I want to thank the host of the Padawan podcast, Jake Berlin, for joining us. Where can they find you online, man?
Twitter, Instagram at Qui-Gon Jake. How coincidental. But yeah, check out the Padawan podcast, our all Star Wars podcast.
Not related, his Twitter handle and him hosting the Padawan podcast. But all right, thank you. Please hit subscribe. Please hit that like button. We'd really appreciate it. And until next time, we'll see you.